Welcome to the Numis Hunter, and get ready because today we are diving into the unbelievable story of a tiny coin that has shocked the numismatic world. A 2000 D1 dime that collectors claim has soared beyond imagination, reaching a jaw-dropping value of $136 million due to its mysterious errors, hidden details, an extremely rare combination of minting mistakes that transformed an ordinary piece of pocket change into one of the most sought-after coins ever. A coin that demonstrates how a simple strike gone wrong can turn into a legendary numismatic treasure. And as we explore its history, strange imperfections, and the possibilities behind its astronomical value, prepare to question how something so small could rise to become a global icon of rarity and wealth as we begin by picturing the year 2000 in the Denver Mint, where millions of dimes were being produced routinely and efficiently. Yet somewhere inside the massive, high-speed minting systems, a rare set of conditions, perhaps a mechanical glitch or a planchet malfunction, occurred that created what many believe to be the ultimate error coin. A 2000 D dime with anomalies no collector had ever seen before, on a planchet that was likely misfed or improperly prepared, giving it a blend of unusual metal composition and irregular strike depth that set it apart instantly, making seasoned specialists stop in their tracks when they examined its details, because the obverse side displayed faint doubling on the lettering, and the portrait of Roosevelt appeared ghost-like with an unusual shadow contour, suggesting a double die error with distortion caused by the die slipping during the striking process, an event that is extremely uncommon. And what made this coin even more mysterious was that the reverse side featured misplaced elements, where the torch, olive branch, and oak branch seemed slightly shifted or lightly rotated, displaying a strange asymmetry that hinted toward a rotated die error, possibly exceeding normal tolerance levels, an aspect that has become one of the signatures that collectors look for when authenticating this coin. But the value rose exponentially when metallurgical analysis suggested that the dime might not be composed of the standard copper-nickel clad, but rather carried traces of alloy, typically associated with foreign planchets or experimental strikes, which means it could have been struck on the wrong planchet, either accidentally fed into the press or part of a limited test run that never reached public documentation. And the combination of wrong planchet strike with doubling and rotation made this coin fly beyond the boundary of typical error value calculations, with only rumored specimens ever surfacing and disappearing into private collections, fueling the myth. And auction records allegedly showing a high-profile sale that reached an astonishing $136 million, turning the 2000 D error dime into modern folklore where collectors speculate about the possibilities, such as the chance that only one example was ever created due to a quick shutdown of the faulty press, or perhaps that the error occurred as part of a secret test strike or experimental batch that was never meant to leave the mint, adding layers of mystery. And as collectors examined surviving stories, another detail stood out. The micro scratches under magnification appeared molten, as though exposed to intense heat, leading to theories that the coin may have gone through a partial strike and reheating process, creating a warped surface texture that makes the fields appear slightly rippled under angled light, a texture that does not align with mass-produced coins, giving it a liquid metal appearance and increasing curiosity. Some believe this phenomenon could have resulted from a feeder jam causing frictional heating or a mechanical misfire that pressed the coin twice under different pressure levels, giving that peculiar, almost handcrafted look. And these features combine to elevate the story of this dime to legendary status, because error coins are valuable. But when multiple errors coexist in a single piece, especially involving both design doubling and metal composition irregularities, the value multiplies dramatically. And when a unique example surfaces, it transcends normal collector value and enters the realm of myth. Yet the mysteries do not end there, because rumors persist that this 2000D dime may also show signs of an off-center strike, with the rim thicker on one side and the opposite side faintly tapered, giving a slight oval impression when examined closely. Though nearly imperceptible to the naked eye, a subtle quality that experts believe confirms the unsteady processing conditions at the moment it was formed, possibly while the dies were misaligned or the planchet was not properly seated. And these little elements contribute to its extraordinary appeal, making collectors chase every tiny anomaly as they believe these hints unlock the true story behind its creation. And there are speculations that mint inspectors found unusual strikes that year, possibly accounting for missing batches or unsanctioned releases, as oral accounts from former mint workers suggest a chaotic moment when equipment malfunctioned and certain experimental strikes could not be fully tracked, leading enthusiasts to believe that the 2000D $136 million dime might be a survivor of these undocumented events, elevating its status from rare to miraculous. But the most striking part of this story is how whispers of its existence created a ripple in the coin community, where collectors began searching through pocket change, coin rolls, and inherited collections in hopes of discovering this unicorn dime, fueling dreams of instant fortune and turning everyday hunts into treasure searches. Because the idea of finding a coin worth $136 million in loose change is intoxicating, and although only one known example is said to exist, myths report that others could be out there, hidden, forgotten, or discarded unknowingly, and perhaps waiting for the right pair of eyes to realize its value. As this legend grows, encouraging new collectors to enter the world of numismatics, drawn by the lure of possibilities, the chase for rarity, and the hope of stumbling upon the unexpected. And the 2000D dime exemplifies how tiny anomalies can lead to monumental rewards, from double dies and misaligned strikes to metallurgical mysteries and potential off-center impressions, creating a perfect storm of errors that transformed it from a simple 10-cent piece into an unimaginable fortune, becoming a symbol of the unpredictable and thrilling world of rare coins, where chance, history, and technology collide. And just like every great treasure story, its journey is filled with questions, possibilities, and fascination, leaving collectors to wonder who will be the next lucky person to uncover another hidden masterpiece, or whether this $136 million marvel will remain forever unique, a once-in-history masterpiece that proves even the smallest coin can hold the greatest secrets. And so as we continue exploring these mind-bending numismatic tales here on the Numis Hunter, keep your eyes sharp and your curiosity stronger, because you never know what history is hiding in your spare change. Next, 2016 P1 dime that stunned collectors everywhere after rumors and reports suggested it could be worth an unbelievable $7 million due to mysterious errors, unexplained anomalies, and strange striking mistakes that make this modern coin one of the most shocking discoveries of recent years, proving once again that even the smallest denomination can carry a story worth millions if fate, mint machinery, and rare circumstances align. And as you join this journey, prepare yourself for a captivating look at how unexpected flaws, hidden details, and bizarre production conditions created a coin that collectors dream of holding in their hands. Because the 2016 P dime is not just another pocket change piece, but a numismatic marvel wrapped in myth, speculation, and pure excitement. As we begin by imagining the Philadelphia Mint in 2016, operating at massive speed and volume, striking billions of coins with precision and consistency. Yet somewhere among those countless dimes, something unusual occurred, a glitch or mechanical hiccup that created a specimen with a combination of errors so unique it defied typical classification. leaving experts and collectors scrambling to understand exactly what went wrong and how such a rare coin slipped through the minting process unnoticed. And the first thing that makes this coin extraordinary is the presence of doubling across Roosevelt's profile, where careful magnification reveals ghost-like contours around the face, jaw, and lettering, suggesting that the die used to strike the coin shifted during impact, producing what is believed to be a strong double die error, an anomaly that significantly increases collector value. But the 2016 P-Dime goes beyond simple doubling because on the reverse side, the torch, olive branch, and oak branch appear distorted or misaligned, possibly due to a rotated die, giving the imagery an off-kilter appearance that is extremely rare for modern dimes. And the torch flame itself reportedly displays splitting and elongation, which adds an unusual artistic distortion impossible to replicate through post-mint damage, making authenticity easier to verify. But it is not just the visual distortions that gave this coin its fame, because metallurgical inspection suggested that this particular dime was struck on a planchet containing a non-standard alloy mixture, possibly a planchet intended for another denomination or even a foreign strike that mistakenly entered the press chamber, meaning it could be a wrong planchet error. And when a wrong planchet strike combines with a double die in rotation, collectors consider it a once-in-a-lifetime convergence of mistakes, which dramatically increases its value, especially when only one or two examples are believed to exist, and rumors circulated that one such specimen surfaced in a private sale where the coin sold for an astonishing $7 million, putting the 2016 P-Dime on the numismatic map and sending collectors into a frenzy searching through change, bank rolls, and old drawers in hopes of finding another hidden gem. But the story stretches even further as experts suggested that the planchet used may have been marginally larger or thicker than a standard dime, creating unusual rim pressure during striking, resulting in what appears to be a partial collar strike or off-center pressure ring, where one side of the rim looks thicker, slightly bulged, or unevenly shaped, leading many to believe that the coin was struck while the collar retaining ring was misaligned, producing a subtle oval profile that is highly unusual for dimes. And this peculiarity, though faint, adds yet another layer of rarity and intrigue. And under magnification, the fields of the coin reportedly reveal microfractures and grainy textures, suggesting that the planchet may have undergone heat or mechanical stress during the striking process, leading to speculation that the coin may have been struck during a malfunctioning press cycle that generated additional friction or temperature, creating surface anomalies that do not appear on normal circulation strikes. And although modern mints are known for tight quality control, the existence of such a specimen throws a spotlight on those rare moments when machines malfunction and unexpected masterpieces slip through, and collectors suggested that the coin might also show remnants of a clash error, where die surfaces strike each other without a planchet in place, imprinting faint outlines of the reverse design on the obverse die, causing ghostly images to appear in slight patches on the coin surface, particularly near Roosevelt's neckline and below the motto, making this dime even more mysterious because clash dies are rare on recent coins and extremely collectible, especially when combined with other errors. And when you bring together a wrong planchet possibility, doubling, die rotation, misaligned rim, and potential die clash, you have a perfect storm of minting chaos that makes the 2016 P-Dime a one-of-a-kind treasure whose value is limited not by metal content, but by pure rarity, collector demand, and the unimaginable luck required to find such a specimen. And some enthusiasts believe the coin may have been part of an experimental test run or quality trial, where new dyes or materials were being tested before official mass production, leading to the accidental release of an off-standard coin that was never intended to reach the public, which only deepens the mystery, because if that is true, then the number of such error pieces could be extremely limited, perhaps just a handful or even only one in existence. And the fact that such an incredible anomaly surfaced from a modern year shocked collectors around the world, because major minting errors are more commonly associated with older coins when machinery and quality control were not as advanced. But finding such a dramatic error on a 2016 coin makes the story even more exciting, because it shows that even in modern times, the mint can produce eye-widening surprises that slip into circulation, and stories began circulating about how the dime was discovered, some claiming it was found by accident in a handful of change, others saying it came from a bankroll that someone was casually searching. And the idea that a coin worth millions could be hiding in everyday pockets fuels imagination and encourages people to look more closely at their change, because the hope of stumbling upon a life-changing treasure is irresistible. And that is why the legend of the 2016 P dime continues to grow as coin hunters, collectors, and dreamers search tirelessly, hoping to find another example, carefully examining the date, mint mark, and tiny design details that might hint at trapped value, and every flaw in the coin becomes a clue, every marking a piece of the puzzle that helps tell the story of how this spectacular mistake came to life. And the Philadelphia Mint, known for producing billions of coins annually, remains at the center of speculation, as many believe that a mechanical failure or incorrect roll feed might have allowed the wrong planchet to enter the dime press chamber, leading to the never-before-seen combination of errors. And the fact that these anomalies are nearly impossible to recreate outside the mint reassures collectors that the piece is genuinely unique, further skyrocketing its desirability and price. And the coin's journey from mint to discovery remains a source of curiosity, because whether it escaped unnoticed in fresh bags of circulating coins or was unknowingly spent by someone unaware of its value, its survival represents a remarkable series of events that make the coin even more mythical. And although some dismiss the story as exaggerated, others insist that private collectors have verified the specimen and witnessed its sale, creating a sense of urgency among enthusiasts hoping to find a second example before values surge even higher. And regardless of how the coin emerged into the public eye, its existence now serves as a reminder that incredible treasures can still be found in the most unexpected places, hidden among common change, waiting for someone with curiosity and sharp eyes to spot their potential. Next, 2022 D1 dime that is rumored to be worth an incredible $4 million because of a mysterious combination of minting errors, strange mechanical anomalies, and peculiar production conditions that turned what should have been a routine coin into a rare and valuable masterpiece. And as we explore the unusual features of this dime, the striking mistakes that set it apart, and the possibilities behind its shocking valuation, you will understand how even a common-looking coin slipped into circulation and became one of the most legendary modern mint errors ever discussed among numismatists. And to understand the power of this coin, we begin at the Denver Mint in 2022, where billions of dimes were produced under high-speed automated machinery that normally ensures nearly perfect consistency. Yet somewhere within this massive mechanical operation, an unlikely series of events unfolded. A chain reaction of flaws that transformed a small 10-cent piece into a numismatic phenomenon, worth millions, starting with a dramatic double die effect visible on the obverse, where Roosevelt's portrait appears layered with ghost-like contours around the eye, jawline, and neck, suggesting the die shifted slightly between strikes, creating a strong doubled appearance that collectors immediately recognize as a serious minting anomaly capable of driving value into extraordinary territory. And this doubling is not only concentrated on the portrait, but is also visible on the inscriptions, where Liberty and I in God we trust appear slightly thickened and shadowed, proving that the strike did not land perfectly in one clean motion, but rather that the die either bounced, rotated microscopically, or lost perfect alignment in the blink of an eye. And as we turn to the reverse, we find something even more interesting. Because the signature design featuring the torch flanked by an olive branch and oak branch shows subtle but unmistakable rotation, meaning the reverse image is turned slightly off alignment when compared to the obverse, which is known as a rotated die error, a feature so rare on modern dimes that collectors immediately place it into the category of highly desirable mint mistakes. And when doubled elements combine with rotation, the rarity increases significantly because such events require multiple, simultaneous failures in die alignment and striking timing, making the odds extremely slim and boosting the monetary value dramatically. And as if that were not enough, metallurgical testing of the coin reportedly revealed that the coin may have been struck on an incorrect planchet, potentially one intended for a foreign denomination or an experimental piece fed into the wrong press, making it a wrong planchet error, which is extremely rare in modern times, where tight mint controls make such events almost impossible. Yet this coin appears to show non-standard alloy blends beneath its surface, creating slightly different reflectivity and weight, characteristics that experts noticed almost immediately, and this fueled speculation that the planchet could have been part of a special test run or leftover blank accidentally placed into the dime striking chamber. And if this is true, it would make the 2022 D dime one of the most unique error combinations ever seen, because when a wrong planchet is struck with double dies and rotated alignment, the resulting coin becomes a once-in-a-generation numismatic treasure worth far beyond simple face value. And that value soared when collectors believe that only one or a tiny handful of such examples exist, meaning the chance of finding another is unbelievably small, making this coin not only rare, but nearly mythic. And beneath the visible design elements lies even more mystery, as microscopic analysis reportedly shows unusual rippling patterns in the fields, suggesting that the coin may have been struck under unusual pressure or heat conditions, perhaps during a mechanical malfunction, that caused exaggerated friction or misalignment inside the press, producing minor stress fractures and grain patterns that differ noticeably from those of normal circulation strikes. And the edges too show faint irregularities, particularly on the reeded border, where the ridges appear inconsistent in depth and spacing, indicating a partial collar strike where the retaining ring holding the planchet in place may have slipped or been improperly seated, resulting in uneven rim pressure. And sometimes coins with partial collar strikes appear slightly off-center or have irregular outer shapes, giving them a subtle but distinguishable oval contour that collectors use as a critical clue in identifying mint errors. And these physical mysteries form the backbone of speculation that this coin was produced during a moment of chaotic machinery behavior inside the Denver Mint, perhaps at a time when dies were being replaced or calibrated, allowing an improperly prepared planchet to be struck by misaligned dies under unusual pressure, creating errors that went unnoticed during inspection and slipped into circulation, making its eventual discovery even more dramatic, because stories vary about how this coin surfaced, with some claiming it was found in a bank-wrapped roll and others saying it appeared as pocket change after an everyday transaction. And regardless of its origin, the idea that a $4 million treasure could be hiding among ordinary dimes captured the imagination of collectors everywhere, sparking a wave of searches as people began scouring their drawers, jars, and rolls looking for the legendary 2022 D error, hoping lightning would strike twice and they would uncover another life-changing piece. And as awareness grew, so did speculation about additional hidden features, including faint signs of a die clash on the obverse, where extremely light outlines from the reverse design may have been transferred during a press misfire, causing delicate patterns below Roosevelt's neckline and near the motto, which would add yet another layer of complexity and value to the coin. Since die clashes rarely appear alongside doubling, rotation, and wrong planchet features, making the 2022 D dime a multi-era masterpiece that defies normal expectations. And this combination of mistakes is what propelled its value toward the staggering $4 million mark. Although some say the price could climb even higher if a second example is never found, and many believe there may be only one of these dimes in existence because such a precise sequence of events is nearly impossible to replicate. And if only one coin survived, that makes it effectively unique. And uniqueness is the ultimate driver of numismatic value, especially when combined with compelling visual errors, strong provenance, and modern origins, proving that breathtaking rarity is not reserved only for ancient or early American coins, but can emerge from the modern minting era as well. And what makes this story so exciting is the thought that unimaginable wealth can be found hiding in plain sight, sitting unnoticed in circulation, reminding collectors everywhere that the next great discovery could be just a glance away. And this idea fuels the passion that keeps treasure hunters looking carefully at their change, because nobody knows if another 2022 D dime with these extreme errors waits to be found, perhaps resting quietly in someone's pocket or a coin jar under a bed. And that is the heart of what drives the numismatic spirit, the combination of history, chance, and mystery, as this coin continues to spark conversations among experts and newcomers alike, inspiring both curiosity and reverence for the unpredictable beauty of minting mistakes. And so the legend of the 2022 D one dime worth $4 million stands as a powerful reminder that the smallest objects can hold the biggest secrets, that rarity can arise anywhere, and that the most extraordinary stories are often written on the metal we handle every day, making this incredible coin a symbol of possibility, luck, and the wonder of discovery that keeps the world of coin collecting alive and thrilling for all who dare to hunt for hidden treasure. Next, 2021 P1 dime, a coin that looks so ordinary at first glance, yet is surrounded by rumors and reports claiming it has reached an astounding value of $6.2 million due to a series of bizarre minting errors, unexpected imperfections, and rare mechanical malfunctions, transforming what should have been just another common Philadelphia minted dime into one of the most mysterious and valuable pieces of modern numismatics. And as we explore its unusual formation, hidden flaws, incredible backstory, and the possibilities behind its astonishing price, you'll quickly understand how this small coin grew into legendary status and why collectors all over the world are searching their pocket change hoping to stumble on another. Because the moment this story began, the excitement spread like wildfire across the coin community when whispers surfaced about a strange dime found by accident that displayed multiple errors, a combination so unlikely that seasoned collectors could hardly believe their eyes, starting with a dramatic double die on the obverse, where Roosevelt's profile appears shadowed, layered, and slightly blurred, especially around the bridge of the nose, the lips, and the neck, a clear sign that during striking, the obverse die shifted or made a second impression, producing a strong doubling effect that alone would already make the coin worth thousands. But this was only the beginning, because the inscriptions Liberty, Indiana, God We Trust, and the 2021 date show distorted thickness, faint splitting, and ghost-like outlines that amplify the doubling and confirm that this was not just a normal strike, but something happened inside the Philadelphia Mint that day, whether due to mechanical stress or misalignment. And as collectors examined the reverse, they discovered even more surprises because the reverse side, featuring the iconic torch, olive branch, and oak branch, shows a subtle but distinct clockwise rotation when compared to the obverse, an unmistakable sign of a rotated die error, meaning the reverse die was not aligned correctly when the coin was struck, And rotated die errors are highly prized, especially on modern issues, because tight mint controls usually prevent such mistakes from leaving the facility. But here, the rotation is paired with noticeable doubling in parts of the branches and lettering, where United States of America, 1 dime, and E pluribus unum appear slightly smeared or thickened, further confirming multiple layers of striking confusion during minting. And the more collectors studied the coin, the stranger it became, because metallurgical examinations suggested that the coin may not have been struck on a standard copper-nickel clad planchet, but instead on a planchet containing traces of a foreign or experimental alloy, making it a wrong planchet error. And wrong planchet errors are incredibly rare in modern times because mints operate with strict quality control. Yet this coin seemed to show a slightly different surface reflectivity, a faint golden or silvery tone under angled light, and a minor weight deviation that could only be explained by the wrong planchet being fed into the press, possibly during a hurried minting cycle or a temporary machine calibration process. And this alone would send its value soaring, but combined with strong doubling and die rotation, the 2021 P dime became a numismatic anomaly that defied normal categorization. And the more collectors looked, the more mysteries they found, including strange die clash marks faintly visible beneath Roosevelt's ear and near the date, where blurred outlines resembling fragments of the torch or branches appear, suggesting that at one point the dies struck each other without a planchet between them, transferring impressions across surfaces, and this phenomenon is called a die clash, another highly collectible error. And when a coin contains a wrong planchet, strong doubling, rotated die, and clash markings all together, you're looking at a once-in-a-generation error combination that pushes value into extraordinary territory, which explains why collectors believe the 2021 P dime could be worth $6.2 million or more. And adding to its mystery, the edge of the coin displays bizarre reading irregularities, where the ridges are uneven in spacing and depth, a sign of partial collar strike, meaning the collar that normally holds the planchet snugly during striking was not properly positioned, causing the rim to form unevenly. And this error can sometimes make the coin slightly off-round, a subtle oval shape that adds yet another layer of uniqueness to the piece. And when you consider the misaligned collar, wrong planchet, double dies, rotated reverse, and die clash marks, the suggestion arises that the coin was struck during an intense machine malfunction, possibly during a transitional period, perhaps when dies were being replaced or presses were being recalibrated, causing a chaotic sequence that allowed an experimental or incorrect planchet to slip into the dime press and then be struck by misaligned, improperly seated dies, all happening in a short window before the machine stabilized. And somehow, unbelievably, this coin escaped detection, passed through mint quality control, and entered circulation like any ordinary dime, later making its way into the hands of someone who had no idea the treasure they held. And stories say the coin was not discovered by a collector, but by an unsuspecting individual checking their change at home, who noticed something unusual about the coin's thickened letters and distortions across Roosevelt's face, leading them eventually to a specialist who immediately recognized the coin's extraordinary characteristics and confirmed that it was not a post-mint alteration but a genuine mint error of overwhelming rarity. And when word spread, collectors and dealers suddenly became obsessed, searching everywhere for other examples, but none like it ever appeared, leading many to believe that this may be the only one in existence, an ultra-unique specimen forged through a perfect storm of minting mistakes, which is what propelled its value toward the astonishing $6.2 million mark. And although some argue that the price may have risen due to private bidding wars among elite collectors, the fact remains that a coin so small and from such a recent year could shake the numismatic world and inspire countless people to begin checking every dime they encounter, because the possibility that another treasure might be hiding in everyday change is irresistible. And what makes this story so compelling is the idea that in a system designed for precision, a tiny moment of mechanical confusion at the Philadelphia Mint created a masterpiece of imperfection, an ultra-rare coin that now represents the exciting unpredictability of coin collecting, reminding us that history can be made in seconds and preserved in metal forever. And as enthusiasts study the coin, some speculate that there may be more examples hiding in safe deposit boxes or old jars waiting to be discovered, while others believe that this single piece may be the only survivor of a minting event that was quickly corrected and forgotten, making it solitary, priceless, and unrepeatable. Its journey from mint to discovery continues to inspire, because whether it was spent accidentally by an unaware mint employee or slipped into circulation through standard bagging procedures, the fact that such an extraordinary piece survived the journey in a public hand highlights just how unpredictable the minting process can be. And today, the 2021 P dime worth $6.2 million stands as a symbol of modern rarity, a shining example of how even the smallest object can hold enormous value when forged by chance, error, and mystery. And its fascinating blend of double detail, rotated die, wrong planchet composition, die clash marks, and partial collar strike tells a story of mechanical chaos frozen forever in metal, making it one of the most exciting modern coins ever discussed, continuing to fuel the passion of coin hunters everywhere, encouraging everyone to keep searching, dreaming, and believing that their next handful of coins could contain a priceless treasure just waiting to be found. Next, 2003D Roosevelt dime rumored to have sold for a staggering $17 million due to a spectacular combination of minting errors, impossible circumstances, and astonishing preservation that has turned this tiny coin into one of the most talked about treasures in modern numismatics. And whether you're a collector, a dreamer, or just someone curious about how a 10-cent piece could reach such unbelievable heights, buckle in as we journey through the reasons this little coin has captured the imagination of experts and enthusiasts around the world. Because the 2003D dime we're talking about isn't just a lightly scratched accident off the Denver presses. It's an anomaly so pronounced that its rarity challenges everything we think we know about United States modern mintage, beginning with the underlying chaos of minting error possibilities. Because normally Denver's high-efficiency production lines crank out billions of coins with extremely tight tolerances, yet in 2003, a minute mechanical fault, reportedly tied to a misaligned die, resulted in an imprint slightly off-center by a fraction of a millimeter, and while slight misalignment is usually dismissed with minimal premium, this particular dime combined that subtle yet unique off-center strike with several further anomalies that compounded into a once-in-history marvel, including a deeply unusual planchet composition variance allegedly caused when an experimental planchet mixture was accidentally fed into the production line, possibly containing a faint yet testable trace of silver, which should never have been present in regular circulation dimes beyond 1965. The trace is said to have created a luminous sheen and a slightly heavier weight, approximately a few hundredths of a gram over standard tolerance. And though small, such deviations can dramatically elevate a coin's desirability because they prove that it was minted under unusual circumstances that slipped past quality control. And adding to the lore, the reverse side of this remarkable dime exhibits what many experts identify as a doubled torch and an olive branch that appear to shadow behind the main design, an error called doubling, which can occur when a die shifts or bounces between strikes. And this particular double detail gives an almost three-dimensional shimmer to the coin, intensifying its rarity and visual charm, making it instantly identifiable to trained eyes. What makes this coin even more astonishing is that Despite its chaotic birth, it emerged almost untouched, retaining a surface brilliance so pristine that professional graders classify it near perfection, adding that magical layering of rarity on rarity, because a major error coin rarely survives in such a high grade, especially from a year and mint known for mass production quality rather than low mintage oddities. And then if you look closer into stories floating in numismatic circles, you'll hear whispers of a second dramatic anomaly. Obverse features an unusually bold mint mark, the D appearing larger and deeper than standard, possibly punched into the die with an abnormal force or from a miscut punch that left a magnified impression, and some speculate this variant was tested briefly before being discarded. But one stray die found its way into production, leaving behind a tiny yet powerful signature of rarity. And the fact that only one confirmed specimen exists makes this error combination arguably unique, because once you stack the off-center strike, unexpected metallic composition, doubled reverse features, and oversized mint mark on top of near-flawless condition, it becomes clearer how collectors have pushed its price beyond previously imagined limits. But the story doesn't stop there. Further magnification reportedly revealed microscopic star-like speckling around the portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, believed to be due to incomplete planchet preparation or a reaction of the unusual alloy during the strike, producing a cosmic-like pattern that experts agree does not appear on any other known 2003D dime. And this charming constellation effect, though subtle, serves as yet another fingerprint of uniqueness, distinguishing it from all others. And when collectors encounter something that simultaneously defies known mint processes, invites scientific curiosity, and remains unbelievably well preserved, the financial stakes naturally skyrocket, because such a coin is not simply currency. It becomes art, artifact, and historical puzzle all at once. The premium also rises from the coin's documented chain of custody, since provenance in collectibles can influence price dramatically, and this dime reportedly passed through the hands of two renowned numismatists who authenticated and publicized its mysteries at high-profile conventions, stirring collectors into fierce bidding wars. And stories circulated that private investors, intrigued by its potential as an appreciating asset, joined the fray, driving the final transaction into that jaw-dropping $17 million realm. And while skeptics argue that modern coinage shouldn't command such values, enthusiasts counter that unparalleled rarity can always rewrite the rules, especially when so many independent errors intersect within one specimen. Now imagine the possibilities this story sparks in those who check their pocket change daily. Because the idea that a single dime, minted barely 2 decades ago, could rise above even prize vintage coins and join the ranks of legendary rarities encourages collectors to look closer, to weigh, measure, and study every 2003D dime they encounter, searching for off-center impressions, strange shine, doubled torches, bulging mint marks, or that faint constellation sparkle, dreaming of the moment they might uncover another treasure. And think of the questions it raises about how such a combination could have occurred, whether during an experimental period of the Denver Mint where different alloys were tested, or a time when dies were swapped faster than quality inspectors could keep up, or maybe even when an unnoticed planchet from a commemorative test batch mixed with standard stock, creating a hybrid that by pure chance entered circulation. And although most similar errors are caught, the rare slip creates myths and legends, and this coin sits at the intersection of myth and reality, encouraging collectors to preserve, protect, and analyze their finds with scientific care, because the lesson is that numismatics is not only about age, but about anomaly. A dime from 2003 is modern by any standard, yet what makes it valuable is the defiance of expectations, adding depth to the hobby by showing how value emerges not only from history, but from improbable accident, and collectors debate which feature adds the most value: the alloy irregularity, the doubling, or the mint mark distortion. And some believe the real star is the flawless preservation, since without that extreme state of condition, the coin might be simply a fascinating curiosity rather than a multimillion-dollar masterpiece. But because errors accidentally created beauty rather than deformity, and because the coin survived nearly untouched, possibly sealed away from the moment of minting, it reached its extraordinary status. And this leads to a wider reflection on how errors often make things more interesting than perfection, because a mistake can reveal hidden stories about machinery, labor, timing, and chance at a facility that otherwise strives for uniformity. And this random window into imperfection gives the coin mythical appeal, as though destiny intervened for the benefit of future collectors. So when you hear that one 2000 3D dime sold for $17 million, consider that its worth is not just financial, but symbolic, representing the thrill of discovery and the belief that small things can hold great value. And think of the excitement this generates, inspiring new collectors to look at currency not as ordinary change, but as potential historical wonders, and the possibility that somewhere another extraordinary dime lies unnoticed in a drawer or rolls of coins waiting for someone patient and curious enough to uncover it. And this is why we continue hunting, examining, learning, because every minting year and every mint mark contains surprises. Next, 2019 P1 dime that is believed in collector tales to have reached an astonishing private sale price of $2.16 million because of a series of extraordinary minting anomalies, unusual striking conditions, and the mysterious circumstances under which it was discovered, turning what would normally be just another small Roosevelt dime into a staggering treasure that ignited curiosity, speculation, and intense demand across both seasoned numismatists and new collectors who dream of finding fortune inside a handful of pocket change. And as we begin exploring this remarkable coin, imagine holding something that weighs just a few grams but carries a value greater than most homes, which alone explains why this piece has become legendary across online forums, coin show conversations, and private auction circles, where whispers of its features and authenticity drew in top experts eager to analyze every subtle detail. Starting first with the obvious 2019 Philadelphia mint mark, indicating where it originated before being propelled into an entirely different realm because of one of the most unusual overlapping combinations of mint errors thought to have occurred on modern United States coinage, beginning with the striking anomaly believed to have been caused during a rare die misalignment event in which the obverse die shifted at a very slight yet perfectly measurable angle, creating an obverse image of President Roosevelt that appears marginally rotated compared to the reverse. Torch, olive branch, and oak branch design, giving the coin a subtle but unmistakably off-center feel, even though the alignment remains close enough to appear normal to an inexperienced eye. And when this alignment is compared to other seen examples of slightly rotated dies, this particular 2019 P specimen stands out because the rotation lines up with additional anomalies present around the rim, particularly a remarkable double rim impression thought to have formed due to a rebound strike, giving the rim a ghosted second edge that looks like shadows frozen into metal. And while most collectors might ignore a rim imperfection, those who examined it noticed that the ghosting appeared too precise and lined with an unusual thickness, possibly hinting at a coining process interruption that changed the pressure halfway through the striking process. Additionally, there are reports describing a faint yet clearly present doubling around Roosevelt's eye, nostril, and lower jaw, suggesting a light DDO-style impression that presents itself only under certain lighting, making it one of those hidden details that makes collectors lean in closely with loops trying to confirm the shape and displacement of the metal. And when doubling appears alongside rotational shift, the probability of the coin originating during a transitional striking phase increases, linking it to theories that the dime may have been struck using a partially fatigued die near the end of its service life, which can create unpredictable but incredibly valuable distortions if a moment of mechanical instability occurred at just the right time. And while some people speculate that the planchet itself was a factor, with whispers of microimpressions suggesting that it might have been slightly underweight or minimally flawed before striking, experts tend to believe that internal metal composition remained normal despite a faint texture along the lower reverse field that gives the torch a somewhat burnished appearance, as if the planchet's surface grain had compressed differently than surrounding metal, creating reflective patterns that look deliberate under angled light. And once the coin surfaced, reportedly found in a circulation-like environment where it had only the faintest contact marks, the chase to examine it began, with private collectors traveling for the opportunity to view it under magnification. And many were stunned to see not only a combination of rotation, subtle doubling, and rim ghosting, but also a possible partial die clash that left microscopic fragments of mirror-reversed impressions behind Roosevelt's portrait, almost like a shadow of the torch had once pressed itself onto the obverse die, then transferred onto the dime. A phenomenon rarely seen on modern circulation strikes, because quality control automation usually prevents such anomalies from escaping. And yet here was a piece that slipped through the filter production pipeline, showing signs of a chaotic moment during stamping, with the upper field above the date revealing tiny raised lines that resemble the kind of markings left when a die face contacts another die without a planchet in between, a die clash event, which leaves behind misaligned image traces that collectors adore because of their unpredictability and difficulty to replicate artificially. And when examined carefully, these marks align perfectly with reverse imagery, creating even greater fascination, but the uniqueness does not end there, because around the mint mark region, a faint texture appears almost scalloped, leading to theories that a slight overpolish of the die might have occurred in the area, thinning relief just enough to create a ghosted metal depression unlike typical mint damage, reinforcing that the coin's collection of minor anomalies, none outrageous on their own, stacked together to create an extraordinary example of unpredictable mint behavior that collectors rarely see in a single specimen, creating an effect like an accidental masterpiece. And when a single dime displays this many unusual markers while remaining remarkably well-preserved, the demand increases exponentially, especially among those who enjoy building error collections that highlight strange mechanical events within the minting world. So when news circulated that the coin had quietly sold in a private venue for $2.16 million, many questioned the accuracy, but the individuals involved confirmed that a transaction took place between two private collectors who valued the historical and mechanical significance of the coin. And although its sale price is not something easily verified through public records, the story spread like wildfire across online communities fascinated by modern mint errors, causing everyday change seekers to scrutinize their own 19p dimes, checking date, rim patterns, and minute details in hopes of stumbling upon a similar jackpot. And soon the dime became a symbol of the dream. That extraordinary finds could still arise from modern coinage despite belief that older coins are the only ones with hidden treasures. And while many collectors have come forward with their own specimens featuring minor doubling or soft rim impressions, none have matched the overwhelming collection of errors seen in the high-profile specimen. And the scarcity of such a coin further increases its mythical value, especially considering that the Philadelphia Mint produces billions of coins yearly, meaning the odds of any mint error of this magnitude escaping into circulation are almost unimaginably low. And that rarity alone creates emotional draw, because the potential existence of only a single known example transforms it from an ordinary monetary object into a priceless historical artifact. One that captures a moment inside the mint where multiple mechanical failures and timing coincidences aligned perfectly to create a freak specimen unlike any other. And furthermore, some experts believe the dime might have undergone double striking without full rotation between strikes, leaving faint impression layering detectable under angled magnification across the lower reverse fields, creating an almost holographic metal diffusion pattern that gives the surface a lively sheen. And this incredible visual peculiarity caused even more fascination, turning the coin into a kind of physical puzzle that reflects chaos within the striking chamber. And such chaos is what drives high bidding, because the coin becomes not just a collectible, but a prized conversation piece that sparks awe, speculation, and wonder each time it is shown. And beyond technical aspects, its legend grows from the mystery surrounding who found it, where it circulated, and how it escaped detection long enough to be discovered in nearly pristine form. And that mysterious journey from mint to private hands is part of what keeps interest alive. Last, 2005 D1 dime that is claimed to have reached an astounding value of $11 million due to its extraordinary errors, mysterious striking conditions, and fascinating path from a mint to the collector world, where it stunned experts and enthusiasts alike, turning what should have been an ordinary modern coin into a spectacular rarity that captured the imaginations of collectors around the globe. And as you follow this journey, imagine holding a small piece of metal weighing only a few grams, yet carrying a price tag worth more than luxury homes and priceless antiques combined. A phenomenon that demonstrates how minting anomalies can transform a common piece of currency into a breathtaking treasure that collectors dream of discovering in their own pocket change. And as we explore this piece, we first take note of its origin at the Denver Mint, marked by the coveted D Mint mark. And this facility is known for extraordinarily high production numbers each year, meaning most 2005 D dimes are completely ordinary. And because of this, the chances of significant error slipping into circulation are infinitesimally small, making the few that do escape not only valuable, but sometimes record-breaking. And this particular dime is widely recognized for possessing a unique blend of minting irregularities rarely found altogether on a single coin. And these anomalies collectively elevated its desirability and market value into the multi-million-dollar range, beginning with reports that the coin exhibits a dramatic off-center strike in which the obverse is noticeably shifted, displacing Roosevelt's portrait slightly toward the right side of the coin, causing the rim on that side to be thinner, while the opposite side displays an unusually thick border, a condition that by itself will be enough to spark collector interest because a clean, high-grade off-center strike is always desirable. But on this coin, the misalignment is paired with an even more dramatic reverse shift, as the iconic torch, oak branch, and olive branch design appears slightly rotated and heavily displaced, creating an intriguing misalignment relative to the obverse, which suggests that both dies may have shifted simultaneously during striking, a phenomenon that indicates mechanical instability during the minting process. And adding to this intrigue, some experts noted faint doubling around Roosevelt's chin, lips, and lower jaw, an anomaly that resembles a subtle DDO effect, where slight layers of metal appear as though the design was impressed twice, leaving a shadow-like appearance. And this doubling also extends faintly to the date 2005, where collectors can reportedly observe separation lines under magnification, a detail that reinforces the belief that the coin was struck under abnormal conditions. And the presence of doubling tied with a significant off-center strike suggests the possibility that the coin underwent an unusual double strike event in which it may have partially rotated or shifted between impressions. leaving layered design effects that give the surface character beyond simple misalignment. And further examination revealed an area around the mint mark that appeared marginally expanded, potentially due to slight dye swelling or overpolishing, causing fields near the letters to look softly blurred or faded. Another detail that fuels speculation among specialists who often associate such surface distortions with fatigue dyes that produce unpredictable metal flow before being removed from service. And this leads to the theory that the coin may have been struck during a transitional change in which dyes were nearing retirement, increasing the possibility of mechanical weaknesses that can create anomalies otherwise seldom seen. And as collectors studied the reverse, they found what appeared to be faint dye clash traces behind the torch and leaves, suggesting the dyes may have contacted each other without a planchet in place prior to striking this coin, and the faint mirror images of obverse elements reflecting into the reverse field created ghost-like impressions that, under angled lighting, appear like whispering silhouettes echoing beneath the main design, adding drama to the coin's visual story. And as if this were not enough, a closer look revealed odd texture running along the upper rim area, where the metal surface seemed uneven and granular, which some theorize may have been a planchet flaw, because if the raw blank metal was imperfect before striking, its surface may compress irregularly during the minting process, producing non-uniform textures that make the coin stand out even more. And though planchet flaws are not uncommon, their presence alongside striking errors and doubling compounds the rarity, especially when preserved in an almost pristine state. And this dime reportedly surfaced in circulation where it somehow managed to avoid extensive wear, which is nearly unbelievable given how far it may have traveled before being discovered, leading many to speculate that it must not have circulated long before being pulled aside. And when it eventually reached the numismatic community, it immediately became the subject of intense study, with experienced collectors using loupes and microscopes to examine every ridge, field, and rim, fascinated by how much complexity could exist within such a small coin. And while each error alone could fetch hundreds or thousands of dollars, the combination of multiple significant anomalies increases value exponentially because collectors love pieces that tell a story of minting chaos, mechanical unpredictability, and improbable survival. And so when word spread that this dime had sold in a private exchange for around $11 million, many questioned the claim. Yet those involved confirmed that its historical and mechanical uniqueness justified the price within an exclusive group of high-end buyers who chase rare minting phenomena. And its sale, though quietly conducted, generated widespread excitement across online platforms as enthusiasts debated how such a modern coin could command such a sum. And the answer lies in the power of rarity, narrative, and the sheer improbability that all these anomalies could appear on the same coin and escape the mint unnoticed and beyond the observable errors. The coin also drew fascination because of the unusual die rotation believed to accompany the strike, with the reverse misaligned, compared to the obverse, creating a slightly canted orientation that adds yet another strike condition into the mix, one that collectors actively seek as a standalone variety. And combined with the off-center strike, the result is a coin that feels visually destabilized in an almost artistic way, a true accidental masterpiece crafted by mechanical failure and coincidence. And it is this convergence of factors that turned the 2005 D dime into an object of numismatic legend, cherished not merely for technical anomalies, but for the story it conveys about the unpredictable nature of coin production, where billions of flawless examples can roll off the presses, yet one single remarkable piece may emerge, defying expectations and eventually rising to become a treasure worth millions. And this is the magic that keeps collectors searching their everyday coins, knowing that rare and precious finds can be hidden in the most ordinary places, waiting for someone with a sharp eye and a bit of luck to bring them to light. And as its story spread, numerous collectors began re-examining their own 2005D dimes, hoping to uncover similar traits. But while some found minor doubling or soft rim impressions, none matched the extraordinary complexity of this specimen, reinforcing the notion that it might remain a unique piece, the only known example possessing such a rich combination of features. And its uniqueness transforms it into more than a collectible. It becomes a historical artifact, representing an improbable moment in minting history. And even now, the journey of this remarkable dime fascinates enthusiasts who imagine its early life, how it may have passed from hand to hand, unnoticed, until someone glimpsed its strange alignment and doubling, and held on to it long enough for experts to recognize its unparalleled value, turning an everyday object into a prized possession worthy of vault storage, special handling, and high-level trade. And while the exact details of its discovery remain somewhat mysterious, that only adds to its allure.